Over the last 7 days, we have witnessed some crazy stuff. Yes, I was away a little bit, and I do apologize for the inconsistency. I did have a few things that came up, but however, over the last 7 days, we have witnessed some insane things happening around the CS2 market, from major updates to manipulation to the market, having some crazy roller coaster rides in certain areas, like for an example, stickers, which yes, we will go over. But one thing that I want to make sure that everyone's aware of. If you are a CS2 investor, this video is a major warning to you. It's a major warning showing you what's actually happening behind the scenes and what could be happening whenever we start to see insane price swings on items that we just know should not be seeing these types of swings. Now, let's actually look at a few things. Let's go over just the market itself. So, we're still sitting around almost $5.4 billion. We did hit an all-time high recently of almost 5.6 billion. We have since dropped about 2.56%. We're still up on the 30-day and even on the 90-day as well. Looking at the market right now in the last 24 hours, there's still a lot of things that are moving. Like, for example, the Hot Rod M4S, which is up 10+% in the last 24 hours, last 7 days, almost 20%. And beyond that, we also still see some nice swings. Like, for an example, I was surprised to see the Hydroponic AK hitting over $8,000. It's actually up 16% in the last 7 days, up 83% in the last 30 days. And then also, of course, the Blue Phosphorus up in the last 30 days. And just across the board, we have some nice price swings. Now, the biggest thing that I'm focused on here is, of course, the EG Holos. By now, it's no surprise that these things have been falling off a cliff. This was to be expected. I said it many times over when we talked about these Holos that this was price manipulation and that this will sell off. I told you guys to avoid this. And again, in the comments on some of those videos, it was a little bit of a mixed review. A lot of people were saying, oh no, we should be buying these because they are going to, continue to get pumped up and we shouldn't be avoiding these. However, when you see something like this that is going insane, it almost seems like it's, unsustainable. You know that this is not a correct value on something like this. Okay, you know that it's going to correct and it's going to have a crash at some point in time. And that's exactly what is happening now. They hit $470. They went down to $60. This was on the 14th. And today, when we look at this, we are down to 20 some dollars. Some of them selling for $20.85. This just sold right now. So when we're thinking about this, lifetime view, we're almost back down to the starting point of this big push. Now, I do think that this goes lower. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I still think that this starts to sell off even more because, again, there's not a crazy demand for the sticker. It was never a, supply and demand sort of thing. It was, all right, let's buy up a ton of the supply and squeeze the price. And then all of a sudden, everyone was hyping it up and the hype was there. But guess what? The demand for the sticker, nobody wanted to put this sticker on anything because, again, it was not a high demand, sticker. It was just all manipulated. Now, looking at the Evil Geniuses market itself, we can see that it's not just the Stockholm 2021 Holo. Even the golds, the foils, everything is starting to drop off. And over the last 7 days, just looking at this real quick, the actual Holo that we just looked at, down 94% in the last week. The Holo from Rio 2022, down 86, almost 87%. The 2020 RMR Holo as well, down 85%. The Glitter from Rio 2022, also down 85%. And this is something that you can see across the board here. The market is fixing itself. This is what we were basically saying that was going to happen because, again, it just made a lot of sense. This is clear market manipulation and it's been happening for quite some time around the market, right? It doesn't even have to be Evil Geniuses. Even looking at the Stockholm 2021 collection, it's not just the Evil Geniuses side of the market. All of these stickers were starting to get pumped all the way up to, crazy amounts. Even on the last 60 days, you could see like the Renegades Holo, this thing is up 1,300+%, even though it's down 81% in the last 7 days. 1,300% in the last 60 days. A lot of these stickers were pumped to oblivion, and now we're starting to see the wipeout. Clear market manipulation. This is something that I want all of you, if you are not, experienced in this market, if you haven't been investing in the CS market for quite some time, this is not something that's brand new, right? There is market manipulation in the CSGO market. CS2, we're just seeing a lot more participants in the investing side of the market. We're starting to see the market expanding rapidly to the upside. I mean, when we think about how much this market has grown, it's insane, but it's going to get worse. Manipulation is going to get worse. We're going to start to see a lot of these prices get to the unsustainable point. I do think that at some point this will lead to another market crash. We don't know how big it will be, but I do think that as more and more prices get manipulated, as more and more value gets added to the market, the crashes will be more, significant. It's very similar to any other market as well. But beyond that, there's also something going on behind the scenes that I think everyone should be aware of as well. And that's Discord groups. So you've probably known about these Discord groups from crypto, if you are in the crypto space. These are groups that are out there even around stocks or FX trading. These are tiers, and if you look at these tiers, this is the scummiest thing ever. Premium subscribers, $1,000 a month, alerted 24 hours before pump begins, exact skin and wear of which item will be pumped, priority access first to know about the next pump. VIPs, $200 per month. This is 1 hour before the pump begins. I mean, this is crazy to see. And we have at the bottom there, members have been making tens of thousands over the past few months. So this group has been cooking and would be a great investment at any tier. Now, this got originally posted by I Am Germ over on X. And yeah, the manipulation is far crazier than we thought. I completely agree with this statement. This explains a lot. You guys probably remember when, we were talking about a few skins back in August that were just, they weren't worth the price. Like, for an example, the Op Man of War. All right, it was a minware. It wasn't even the factory new. Okay, looking at, just the list here. I just want to show you guys this real quick. So this was the Man of War minware. It was up 14% in the last 24 hours, 37% in the last 7 days, and 128% in the last 30 days. This was the minware version of it, though. The stat track minware was not even close to these figures. The field test it was starting to get picked up a bit, but this was showing us that someone was manipulating the market. Something was happening in the market. Then there was also the Fever Dream. It was up 70% in the last 30 days. And if we're looking at the list here we have factory news, the minware field tested. Nobody was buying the Fever Dream. And then all of a sudden we saw the Fever Dream just go up 70% in the last 30 days. We go back to this list and it feels as if, yes, this is true. Yes, there is a group out there that is pumping specific skins with, of course, the wear included. This also explains why the leaded glass, for an example, is up 600+% in the last 30 days, up almost 300+% in the last 30 days for the minware. And by the way, looking at the StatTrack factory new compared to the factory new, clear manipulation of the skin. And there's so many like this out there. I mean, just looking at the market, if you really look at the market, look at specific skins like the AK skins, this is going on for, specific skins, specific wares, and it has been happening for a few months now. This also has led to a few things happening even with the reverse trade, decision that Valve brought in. That's what caused the original crash back in July. This also has led to CS Float putting out a statement saying, with recent fluctuations in item prices, we're making our trade penalty system more strict with the following changes. If you are at fault for a trade, it will result in a 4% fine of the listing price, 2% before. If a buyer cancels after 24 hours of the seller being unresponsive, the seller will be fined 5% of the listing price, 4% before, and receive a warning on their account. Buyers can still freely cancel purchases after 30 minutes if the seller is unresponsive. We'll continue to actively monitor and assess changes needed in this regard, because on top of the market getting extremely manipulated, we have been witnessing a ton of scammers in this space as well. Yes, it's a lot harder to get scammed on certain platforms, but those that are still doing cash deals in this space are going through hell right now, because we are seeing a massive abuse of the trade revert mechanism. This is a very big issue, because this is not only leading to items getting stolen or money getting stolen and scams happening, it also could lead to some serious things hitting the space. Like, for an example, regulators putting pressure on Valve. This could all cause a down spiral in this space. Because again, we are now starting to see groups manipulating prices, which will lead to, of course, those same groups taking profits, selling, dumping, which we're already seeing what this leads to, right? But on top of this, we also have scammers in this space. We've always had scammers in this space. If you were back in like 2017, 2018 or so, the biggest thing back then were like, trading bots that were scamming individuals saying, oh, hey, if you send us your knife, we'll send you this back, whatever. It was very hard to get scammed. You really had to be just dumb about it. But, regardless of that, it was always a thing. But today, just like I said previously with the market crashes, things are getting far worse, because again, the market's getting bigger, the prices are getting more expensive. I mean, looking at some of these prices, we are looking at prices that most people just cannot afford. We're talking about $6,000, $8,000, sometimes even $10,000 plus dollars. Just looking at this market, yeah, manipulation is going to be there, scams are going to be there, but now it's getting to the point where it is getting so bad to the point where we can look at this space and say, at some point in time, if things get bad enough, we will start to see regulators stepping in. This could lead to a huge problem, especially for the CS2 market. Right now, this space is fully unregulated, which means scams are, it's just like the crypto space, right? Scams are, crazy in the space. Manipulation is insane. This is why you always have to be careful. And of course, avoid things like this. Do not buy into FOMO. Do not, get persuaded to buy something that is going insane. This is also why I've said you have a platform. You have Price Empire to look at. You could go through things. You could look at AK skins, M4S skins, anything. Look at how they have been behaving in the last 30 days, the last 60 days. Look at the long term. Even look at the short term as well. If they are up 100, 200, 300, 400+% in a very short amount of time, it's best to avoid that, because at some point in time, someone is going to, take profits, and that could lead to a cascade just like the Evil Geniuses Hollow. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications on to never miss a future update. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.